There have been a lot of amazing and terrible anime adaptation over the years. With every great adaptation, we usually see a boost in the manga's sales. That means it did its job, by the way. Whether you read manga or just watch anime, you're probably aware that the initial purpose of anime is to help advertise a manga series. This begs the question though, can a bad adaptation ruin a manga series? You might be asking why I'm even asking this question. Well, the truth is, nobody talks about this. I hear about record sales all day when an anime like Demon Slayer does really well, but when a series like Seven Deadly Sins has a bad anime season, it's crickets. Nobody's talking about it. How has this affected the manga? That's not to mention all the arguably negative things that would come just from an anime doing well or poorly. For example, the community. There are entire fandoms that form exclusively around an anime adaptation, and they aren't always the nicest crowd to be around.
What's your opinion on your ships?
Oh my god, how did we get here again? No. Okay, we're gonna keep answering questions after this. It's none of my business, really. And who cares what 30-something-year-old...
Don't you love your ship with Eri?
Oh my god.
This isn't always the source material's fault or the creators, of course, but sometimes it just touches that the anime had this effect, like a meme spawning from an anime scene, and sometimes it just reaches the right audience for this to form. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, look no further than My Hero Academia's community. The My Hero fandom has a lot of negative things said about it. Remember, none of these things are true for the entire community, but they are for some of the members, and those members happen to be some of the loudest people that the internet has ever spawned. This isn't a video about that community. A quick Google search or Reddit thread will show you everything that you need to know, but regardless, the way this community is seen by anime fans and non-anime fans alike could have a negative effect on whether or not someone checks out a series, let alone buying a single volume or even reading it in Jump. Luckily, My Hero has a good adaptation, otherwise I don't know who would hang out with this community with this smell and all. Okay, I'll stop. That does bring us to another good point though. When an anime gets a bad adaptation, whether that be a terrible animation or just too many liberties we're taking with the series, it gets a lot of backlash from both longtime fans of the material or just people that decided to check out the series for the first time. In today's day and age, it's really hard to get away with this. Not only is the bar set really high, but there are an army of content creators waiting to milk you dry the moment you mess up and release a season like this. And they'll further perpetuate the idea that this series is not worth checking out, that it's terrible. With an insanely loud army of people led by content creators and 2 million Karma Reddit users telling you that Record of Ragnarok is the worst anime ever made, what are you supposed to think? That the manga might be good though? A lot of people are anime only watchers, and this could have been their one chance, the one opportunity to love something enough to actually give the manga a try. But now that opportunity is lost. So with all that being said, we get to the point of this video. After a lot of research and asking around on the internet, my results were inconclusive. It seems like even bad anime is good for manga. Or is it? I'd like to introduce you all to an anime called X-Arm. How did this sci-fi manga that was featured in Shonen Jump Plus and praised by Togashi himself end up being cancelled? Well, it all starts with the anime. This manga series began its work in early 2011 with X Vita, and X-Arm was created by Komi Shinya and Hyrock in 2015. This ran until 2019, and in 2021, the manga series began its sequel, X-Arm X. The 7th episode of the anime was airing around this time, and that's where the story ended. This anime has the history of one of the lowest rated anime of all time on all ranking websites. It has less than an average 3 out of 10 rating across the board. The animation was abysmal. It was the laughing stock of the entire internet. Everyone was taking shots at this, and rightfully so. Its production was so poorly handled, letting Crunchyroll publish it, and a game studio who had no business working on the series covering the animation. There's also a terrible director who not only lied to the staff at Crunchyroll about the progress of the series as it was being made, they were also talking up the adaptation as if it was better than competing sci-fi anime. X-Arm is to many people still the worst anime that was ever made, and sadly the name X-Arm will always be associated with that. It's a great manga, fantastic art, great paneling, a decent story, and pretty good execution. It's at least a 6.5, maybe even a 7 out of 10. That's only if we really feel like being really critical about it. But sadly, this series was reduced to basically garbage, and these two mangaka sadly had to close the doors on 8 years of work and cancel the sequel to X-Arm. They never recovered. Now there's a lot of argument to whether or not the anime got the sequel canceled, or maybe the sequel just wasn't that good to begin with and died early on because of that. It's really hard to say. I'd like to think that it was a little bit of both. This is the problem though. There doesn't seem to be much accountability for studios developing anime like this. Yeah, they got made fun of, they probably lost money, but they potentially ruined someone's career and nobody really reports on this. There's no way for sure to know if a bad adaptation can bring down the source material. Journalists and publishers only report manga sales from good anime. However, let's look at another series that seemed to have bombed and see how it was affected. Seven Deadly Sins, Season 3 launched October of 2019 and was under a new animation studio, Studio Dean, previously animated by A1 Pictures, and there was a clear drop in the quality. This is when all the memes started pouring in. This is when everyone started hating on Seven Deadly Sins. There was of course narrative choices that fans were critical about, but the anime's adaptation was the #1 focus. It felt like Seven Deadly Sins' reputation was tarnished forever, and yet Oricon's yearly manga sales rankings for 2020 show Seven Deadly Sins in the top 24. Why is that? Why was this series with a terrible anime now still doing so well? Well, here's the truth. An anime will not ruin a manga series or straight up kill it in 99% of cases. Anime usually only works to better the sales of a manga, but an important thing to note is that Seven Deadly Sins was super well received and popular as a manga series before Season 1 and 2 even came out. Season 1 and Season 2 of the anime skyrocketed this series. They took something big and made it huge. This is a wonderful effect that anime can have, and the reason that X-Arm suffered wasn't just because the anime was so horrible. I believe a lot of it has to do with timing, genre, execution. This is a business world. Most ideas are based off proven ideas. They took a huge gamble with X-Arm. Seven Deadly Sins is a battle shonen, fantasy setting, fan service galore. Aside from its narrative or any other good qualities, it's just a much easier formula to succeed with than X-Arm's. X-Arm is different. It has science fiction, and in all honesty, it's very niche. No matter how much you love this manga series, it was quite niche. They took something unfamiliar, tried to deliver it to the world like this, with this abysmal anime, and so what most people exposed to X-Arm knew is that it was the series that was hideous, that it was garbage, that it was something that every YouTuber made fun of. The niche fan base was not enough to carry this manga, so it probably didn't do well massively or see a huge boost in manga sales. Now I'm going off the assumption for this, but the manga industry is very brutal. The mangaka very well could have had their series shut down by the publisher because everything was going so bad for the anime and its reputation. Either way, this is a travesty. Please consider the source material anytime you don't like an anime, even if it's something that you don't usually do. I didn't like Undead Unluck's anime, but then I started reading it and now it's one of my favorite weekly series. I think of all the great manga series that I've loved over the years, and I get kind of sad because I think about all my friends and how they will never read this series because the anime adaptation was just so ugly and gross. There's just no way it doesn't have harmful effects on mangaka's work. Even if it isn't tanking in sales, it's a lot of time and money wasted to gain nothing for the mangaka but a bad reputation and possibly ridicule. If you didn't make a New Year's resolution, here's your next one. Read more. You're missing out. I'm not one of the people that push manga's always better, but you should read more. You're missing out on a lot of different opportunities. Thanks so much for watching. If you would like to see more content like this, make sure you subscribe and let me know what manga series was ruined for you because of its anime.